Lujack, Larry Lujack, Larry Lujack, Larry Lujack, Superjock.
I worked with this guy for over 35 years. He is sarcastic, irreverent, and mostly lovable. Most importantly, he's inspired generations of new talent in both radio and television. This man is a genius. Let's take a look at the life and career of the charming and delightful old Uncle Larry Lujack. He was born in Quasqueton, Iowa, where he played quarterback for his high school football team. And he set new records for interceptions.
At one time, my big dream in life was to go to college and major in wildlife conservation at the University of Idaho and work for the Idaho Fish and Game Department and save the world's wildlife.
After college, Larry worked for a number of stations with a tenure of about 4 months each. He maintained an almost perfect record of being fired at every job. In the spring of 1967, Larry worked an overnight shift at WCFL Chicago. This began a stint in the Windy City that would last for decades.
He never copied anyone. He was indeed an original. There's only one Larry Lujack.
I think Larry was so popular because he said things that people were afraid to say. He certainly wasn't afraid of authority, and he had this rebel attitude. And I think people related to that here was a guy that could kind of do whatever he wanted to do and get away with it and do the things they couldn't do.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, that guy doesn't sound like he's in a good mood. He's not, wait a minute, hey, not had to play the Platters about a top 40. He was just like, yeah, I don't know, it's dreary out. And I went, he just said it's dreary out. I thought he immediately captured my attention because he didn't sound like everybody else. He just sounded like, does he know he's on the air?
4 months later, Larry moved across the Chicago River to WCFL's top 40 competitor, WLS.
I am Larry Lujack, the greatest disc jockey of our time or any other time.
Radio in the 70s was a wonderful mix of music and personalities. Obviously, music was one of the primary reasons people tuned into radio, but the personalities set us apart.
Larry had become such a valuable personality that crosstown rival WCFL lured him back with a major contract in 1972. However, a few years later, CFL flipped to a beautiful music format.
It's 12:30 a.m., 45 degrees in Chicago with the world's most beautiful music.
Larry appeared on the WLS Channel 7 program Graffiti back in 1976 to talk about his situation.
At the moment, I liken my present situation to that of a caterpillar who has just gone into kind of a beautiful music cocoon for a while. And at some future date, I may emerge as a rock and roll butterfly one more time.
It turns out Larry was right. In 1976, he jumped back to WLS, where he teamed up with me to become the team Uncle Larry and Little Tommy.
He's not enjoying this. He's going to come out and he's going to say something about that band, which he would. He would rip the music. He would talk about the bands. I thought, wow, he hates that song as much as I hate that song.
I think that's what made him so real on the air. It wasn't an act. You know, he's as ornery and grouchy off the air as he was on the air.
Throughout his career, Larry won numerous industry awards, including being inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame and the Illinois Broadcasters Hall of Fame. In 2003, he re-teamed with me on Real Oldie 1690 WRLL Chicago. Larry Lujack is the type of performer that comes along once in a generation. He's a personality who has inspired others to follow in his footsteps.
To me, the Midwest, there is no way you are in radio without saying Larry Lujack touched your life in one way or another. There's no way, otherwise you're lying.
He's become a role model for excellence to many in radio today.
Larry Lujack, Larry Lujack, Larry Lujack, Superjock.
Look what else has come in. Larry Lujack, what do you got for me?
Johnny's brought you a copy of my book, which I will sell you for $6.95 plus tax. Buy my book, make me rich.
Larry Lujack, Larry Lujack, Superjock.
On WLS, AM 89 and FM 94.7.
My dear friends, in just a moment, we're going to meet the guy who made it big with the crank letter and his Superjock image, and is now playing the beautiful music. Larry Lujack will join us in just a moment. Goliath now sits by David. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Lujack, Superjock. See, Larry, they haven't forgotten you.
Can I say something, John?
Why, of course. I know you're a little mad about the first part of the show. Speak up.
You're a mean guy. See, it's like, I would disagree with what you said. Now, it's like Catfish Hunter. Maybe Catfish Hunter is pitching tomorrow. Now, he's probably the best pitcher in baseball right now. Doesn't mean he always wins, and it don't mean the Yankees are going to the World Series. Bob Surratt's radio station beat my radio station, but nobody beats me.
Your point...
Right, kids? Right.
Your point is very well made.
No, it's...
No, I'm going to agree with you 100%. I was quoting the way the press had characterized this thing. I think that David and Goliath came out of a Norman Mark column, I think, which is in my clip file.
You are really behind the times.
Bill Granger, I think, wrote that. Yeah. Well, I haven't received any kind of concession telegram from Larry ever either, so...
I am alive and well, and at the moment I'm playing the world's most beautiful music. All day and all night.
Now let me ask you all in the audience, how do you like CFL's beautiful music?
They love it.
How do you like Larry Lujack?
They love me. Hey,
have you heard his routine on CFL? No, give us the routine. What do you do
some very creative things with the time and the temperature.
Give us just kind of an example. Do you do this? Do you do this?
Oh, yeah.
Lay it on us a little.
Gotta see what time it is. Well, it's about 12:30, right? It's 12:30 a.m. 45 degrees in Chicago with the world's most beautiful music all day and all night. Yes.
See, now, it's a great and unique talent.
Now, the world needs this kind of music. Now, when I was playing rock and roll, I admit I was an obnoxious jerk. But this music has mellowed me out, and I am now genuinely a nice guy, and I think you're going to like me. You're my favorite TV star, by the way, John.
All this proves how tasteless you are. Your book, Superjock, is the grossest, vilest, most degenerate book I ever read, and I think it perfectly captures the mood of rock and roll radio. Now, you have come back from that spaced-out world of rock radio where values are downtrodden, where, you know, jocks are all sex fiends, dope pushers, etc.
You know, John, you did this the last time we did a show together. You did this last time. You sound like a commercial for one of those X-rated movies in that promotional announcement there. Well, you don't really believe that, do you?
Did you read the book?
Yeah, I did read the book.
Do you think the events, people, and caricature of things in the book are the way they are?
I think it's an accurate portrayal of Larry's life.
and the business in which he works and the people. The stories aren't all about him. They're about the guys he worked with.
Well, you can't generalize about the whole. I think it captures a lot of the flavor of the business, but the book is not what is not.
Now you're in Straitsville, and values of middle-class America. You're back in the mainstream. Welcome.
For a while.
Do you feel better? You relaxed?
I still like rock and roll. The book is, I will admit, trash, but it is fascinating trash.
10-4 on that. Rona Barrett couldn't have done better. You know, I enjoyed, I got to tell you, I've heard a lot of bad remarks about the book. People told me how bad it was. Well, it is full of dirty words and filth. But by the same token, having been in the broadcasting business, I said, hey, here's a very accurate book about the way one segment of it is rock and roll radio. Now, are you going to argue with that, Bob?
No, not at all. But okay. I just argued with the way you described it.
Mean guy you are.
Yeah, he is mean.
The book, and I'm glad you pointed out something there. For the few in the viewing audience who have not yet purchased this classic, which is only $6.95. Expletives are not deleted in this book, and it may be too intense for younger children. I always like to point this out.
Well, I appreciate that. It is not the book to buy your kid who listens to the rock and roll radio station. It's really for yourself.
Unless
a more mature person, 18 and over or something. Okay, now, I want to talk to you some more about your situation. you were hired as a rock jock. You're paid this big, big bread, quote unquote. 125,000 is what the columns say. And now you're doing this very easy announcing chore, which is hardly worth 125,000 a year. Are you and CFL going to manage to get along through that contract?
They love me, and I love them. I love WCFL. I love the beautiful music. No, all I can really say about that is that that we entered into an agreement a few years ago, and it has a couple more years to run. And they are living up to their end of that agreement, and I am living up to mine. At the moment, stay tuned for further bulletins on that.
Well, I personally wish you very well, and I admire your talent. I don't think it's getting fully utilized at this point. That's the only thing. And I think there'll be another fight between you guys somewhere someday, or maybe you'll be on a staff together again.
After the show, there's going to be a...
After the show, I'm leaving fast.
I would like to point out that for those in the viewing audience who think this show is really a drag so far, the movie that is coming on after this show is called, I wrote this down, I looked it up in TV Guide. It's called X from Outer Space, and it concerns an alien spore which sprouts into a 15,000-ton monster which squashes everything in its path. That's a direct quote. And it got a 1.5 stars. Great movie coming up, folks. Keep it right here on 7.
You do that well, Larry. I think we can use you.
Oh, excuse me. Pardon me. It slipped. I'm not allowed to do that anymore.
Other gross noises?
I pioneered belching on the air.
Other gross noises?
It's not the family hour. Go ahead, Fred.
Sure. I've pooped into the microphone during Lyle Dean's newscast. I pulled the microphone down to my fanny and pooped. On the air. What do you think of that?
I think there goes the license.
That's right. A lot of bleeping on the show, folks.
Look what a clean-cut young man you're working with. How do you feel about a guy wearing, a three-piece matching suit and shiny shoes and so on? Is he discrediting rock radio?
God, he's pretty.
Shove around, Captain and Tennille on DHF!
We just wanted to see if Larry could still do it.
I just got even with him right there. Depends on how much payola the record company spreads around. Well, I'll take some.
Now that you're out of the shameful rock business, tell us how the records are selected that go on these big rock stations.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. No, I don't know. I have no idea.
What do you mean you have no idea? You were in the business for years.
I never paid any attention to what was going on. No, there is a music department in big stations like LS or CFL or...
And the reason there is because jocks used to take payola.
Disc jockeys no longer are allowed to pick the records because...
They don't trust us.
Record companies might give them money or drugs to play.
Or sexual favors.
Sexual favors is a good one, too. So that's the rumor going on. Of course, I never saw any of that.
Me neither.
Well, this rumor keeps cropping up from time to time.
It's terrible.
Back in the rock days at CFL, was somebody picking the wrong records, Larry? Is that why it went down?
No, that was not it at all.
What do you mean? Stop right there. I don't want to cut you.
No. Hey. CFL, beautiful people, beautiful music. I love it there. Love it to death. We lost because LS cheated.
Our music is selected by computer and research, and they put a lot of time into it.
Well, there are only so many advertising dollars that go into rock and roll radio, and there are a lot of, there's more than just the ones on AM. There's about 10 rock and rollers on FM. There's not enough money to support all of them.
Yeah, will Larry ever go back to playing top 40?
Well, I love beautiful music. I do. I love it. Every time Theme from a Summer Place comes on, I reach over or Moon River. Love that stuff. But I don't know. At the moment, I liken my present situation to that of a caterpillar who has just gone into kind of a beautiful music cocoon for a while. And at some future date, I may emerge as a rock and roll butterfly one more time.
If you were to become a station manager, like you said in your final address that you think you might be, who would you staff as disc jockeys?
Here comes the dream staff.
I wouldn't hire Fred. No, I don't know. I kept expecting to be named station manager, but every time promotion time came around, I was passed over. I don't know. I don't want to be a station manager. I don't know who I'd put on.
I just thought you'd hire an automated music machine.
Yeah, I think I'd keep CFL pretty much the way it is because I love it there, John. I really do.
Well, on the surveys, do you have to look relatively respectable, or?
Yeah, see, they don't
so now
like.
You can look how you want, right?
Yeah, they don't. A lot of stations don't feel that like mustaches and beards and so forth, they make you look too scrungy, and they don't want their guys on TV or in newspaper pictures looking that way.
So there's no dress code at CFL.
So I bought myself a Harley Davidson now, and
as we sign off, Larry Lujack is going to plug the movie that follows. Good night, dear friends.
Stay up for our late-night movie, The X from Outer Space, starring Weiji Okada, Toshio Wazaki, and Peggy Neal as an alien spore from outer space sprouts into a 15,000-ton monster.
Lakeshore Drive. North side, west side, south side in Chicago. It's WLS. The Rock of Chicago. WLS.
A lot of people think that I've been at WLS since the station started in 1924. No, it just seems that long.
WLS in Chicago.
Do you know me? Lots of people know my voice from listening to me every morning from 5:30 until 10 a.m. on WLS Music Radio. They've heard my cheap, trashy showbiz reports and animal stories, but out here in the street, they would know me from Surratt. That's why I'm handing out these cards that say I'm a star on WLS Music Radio. Only a super station could have Superjock, Larry Lujack. Don't get up without me.
WLS.
All right, a little quiet for Superjock. Your old